And we're like, oh, drink a bottle-ish. Yeah. Watch out, Layla. Move, Layla. Scooch. Move your booty.
Well, you know, I mean, I could caveat to the fact that, you know, the Have 'em All does say
Don't drink that much.
to drink, but keep your wits about you.
Right, and I have consistently had several nights drunk to a point of keeping my wits, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. I mean, honestly, it's...
It really is.
Check out these little lights Sam got me. She got me 3 of them.
Yeah, I saw them hang up there. Oh, sweet. So they can just hang wherever, and they're pretty bright.
Yeah.
Particularly for ambient bright.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I think I figured out that when I figured out how to do the extra ribs for the bed of my truck, once I have those, I won't need the guide rope to go all the way across. From the front
Lex,
all the way out the ass end.
Yeah.
I won't need that.
I don't actually sit on your paws, honey.
I'll just sit on a supermoon.
Yeah, because the ribs will be able to knock
because
the
it doesn't
mic off.
The guide rope only provides support laterally from the roof to the freaking rear end.
Mm-hmm. I have no
Nothing
food
else.
for you.
All right, sir.
Okay.
I has no food for you. Puppies, no food have.
You guys have already got dinner. And don't be mad because you're on diets. They went from about 2.5 cups a day. Well, 2 cups twice a day.
Hi, everyone. So it's Friday night. It's Friday Night Live. Trying to. Oh God, he's turning down volumes. Oh God, and he's dropping remotes.
Baby, why don't you pause this?
Oh, I am. I'm just trying to get it to work first. That was the key.
Well, now you're trying to run live.
There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So.
PlayStation's turned off, right?
Of course, it hasn't even been on.
Hello, I'm here. Not really.
He's eating, guys. Bear with him. All right,
And-
let me
and
scooch over.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
I
let me
will
do this.
scoot.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like a pillow and other stuff.
All right,
No.
so we have a microphone. Yeah, we're getting technical, guys. Now you can probably hear us super well. Oh, and libations. Libation station.
There we go.
Hold
Sort
on.
of in frame.
Ah, yay.
See, what it requires is some kind of alien technology to be able to focus the camera and to help people do things like record live video.
So let me just make sure we are live on the page.
And if we're not, then that statement was pointless.
Oh, yep, we're there. Okay. Keep in mind, guys, there is a delay because, as you guys remember, we're on Go Light Stream. And the reason we do this versus just doing the straight live castings via Facebook is because the light stream allows us to be able to do documents and screen shares and things of that nature. So there is a method to the madness. Now, there is a slight delay. It's about 10 seconds. And as I promised you, creepy mannerisms from Linwell, as assured. I can hear but can't see. Keep in mind, guys, when we do our opening screen, it's Friday Night Lives. It just has the picture. There is no sound. There is nothing there. It's just the initial picture just to kind of intro and let you guys know we're gearing up. We're getting things ready to go. That's just us prepping and getting stuff ready to go in the background.
Now, please stand by, screen.
Yeah, it's like, wait. Technical difficulties.
Stand by. Your program will begin shortly.
Tracy, it's me, Tammy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tracy. And from now, you know what? Your magical name is going to be Tammy.
Yeah.
There you go.
What you eating? Looks like spaghetti. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
totally.
Linwell made spaghetti for dinner while I was updating the computer to kind of help it function better. We'll say that.
It was good times, I think. I don't know. I wasn't here. I just showed up for food and live and wine.
So you guys will be so proud. I have organized myself. Oh my god, yeah, you guys could actually read that too. Wow, I'm proud of myself on this one. Vlog planning and Coven Le Corbeau Noir's organizer. So, I'm actually documenting it and organizing the chaos in my brain. Ooh. Oh, hey, Kat! If we can't, because, you know, Facebook used to have this lovely feature where it would tell you who was on. Comment, like, let us know who's on. Otherwise, I have no idea who you are, and if you exist, you're just a number on a screen.
Beside a little eye.
Yeah,
it's
besides
like
a little eyeball.
Yeah, beside a little eye of Sauron.
Yes. Don't drop your contacts. So, as I said, organizing my thoughts. So, if you guys have checked out our previous videos, my name is Lady Noisiu. I am the posto crazy person on the page. This is Rowan, who is mowing down some sketty. He is our random posto plenty person too, but he is the person that likes to do the random quips and quotes o plenty. We like him being on live. He makes it entertaining. Linwell.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No. Linwell is somewhere in the back. You will see him be creepy, as per his normal whenever Rowan is here. If Rowan is on live, Linwell doesn't have to be on. And Linwell doesn't have to do anything, which means he can just be the creepy stalker in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Sarah and Harley. Hey, Nicole. So we got some more peeps on.
Doo-doo. Doo-doo.
Yep.
Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Doo-doo.
No words.
I do. Awesome sauce. Or even better, wait for it, legendary. Oh, Neil Patrick Harris, how I love you so.
Oh, goodness. So we have a couple of things that we wanted to do tonight. And then a couple of new things that I wanted to introduce tonight. So we'll kind of start that. So first thing first, we already did our updates. So I wanted to introduce a new segment to Coven Le Corbeau Noir. It's not very often we have the ability to introduce pagan news.
Pagan news. And in other news, a woman today was found hugging a tree. Now with the weather.
Yeah.
Or perhaps another quote that might be more apropos for pagan news. Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed into a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, that there's no such thing as death, life is only a dream, and we're just the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather. And you can sound like that's inappropriate. It's pagan news, sort of. It's new agey. It works.
It is. And
it's Bill Hicks. Everybody loves Bill Hicks. And you did introduce me as the Quipmaster, so
I did. I set this up, guys. I did. All right. So pagan news, yay! So first and foremost, there's a bunch of stuff kind of going around in North Carolina. Pagan Pride Day in Raleigh has kind of dropped some information. First and foremost, they're asking for volunteers to step up and take the reins in Central North Carolina. I know a couple people are potentially looking at volunteering, and essentially, it looks like 2018 is going to have some pretty decent changes. Hey, Justin! So, you know, with that being said, Raleigh's pagan... Hi, Hi, Jinx. That is my cat, Jinx.
Mhm.
Everybody. She
Now-
is the tiny floof.
So you could say, "We're going through changes," whatever who
Yeah.
sings that song?
Anyhow, so with that being
shiny.
said, with Central North Carolina's Pagan Pride Day, there are going to be some potential changes in the amount of days. It could be location, it could be time frames, it could be vendor amounts or participation. I mean, who knows? So with that whole caveat of things, they're looking for help in any capacity. So if you live in that area and you're interested in volunteering in any way, shape, or form, they have their own page set up. You can actually also go through the Pagan Pride organization and reach out and actually submit information to be a volunteer, be a vendor, be a coordinator, whatever the case may be, and initiate that process, and somebody will get in touch with you. It can take a while to go through that process, so keep that in mind. I mean, we're still waiting for a little bit of information back pertaining to a couple of things for our event that we're doing here on the East Coast of North Carolina. So, you know,
your chief assets in this regard are your one chief asset, I should say, is patience and resolve.
Yes.
Wait, your two assets are patience and resolve and a desire to get things done. Your three things would be patience, resolve, a desire to get done, and ruthless efficiency. Among your chief assets would be patience, resolve, a desire to get things done, and ruthless efficiency.
Yes. Now, among other things, we want to kind of do a light out of a candle request for Kay Soto's significant other. She is the business owner of Sojourner's Journey, and her husband just had to undergo an emergency bypass surgery. And if you have the opportunity, he is in ICU. They're looking at transporting him from ICU to the VA hospital out in their neck of the woods. Hopefully things continue to go well for them. So if you just have the opportunity just to continue to send some good light and energy out their way, just to ensure a good recovery and to make sure that everything goes smoothly as far as healing and whatnot. Let's see. So there was some other really cool stuff that I had found in the news that I didn't know about. Josh Jones. So Josh, we do a weekly live cast, and what we're talking about currently is some of the pagan news that is out in the world, and then we're going to do a little information about the supermoon this weekend, which is actually the only supermoon this year.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about moon phases and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And
so,
upcoming Mercury bid you over and go to town with Mercury.
Yes. So in spring, the University of Alberta had its first Wiccan chaplain.
Really?
Yes. Reverend Samuel Wagger is also the chair of the university's chaplain associations. Wagger was recently interviewed by the reporter from the local Toronto news site. As the writer notes, Wagger has recently started offering students free tarot readings. Every Wednesday afternoon, he sets up a table on the main floor of the university union building and spreads out a brightly colored cloth and a deck of tarot cards and waits for students to stop by for spiritual guidance. He loves being of service to the university community. So the fact that the university has their own first Wiccan chaplain is really flipping cool. Not very often you hear that.
Brings a tear to my eye.
We're growing up, guys.
Wiccan's growing. I'm getting off a Clint. Talk amongst yourselves. Topic: Holy Roman Empire. Neither holy nor Roman nor an empire discuss.
Order of the Bards, Obates, and Druids, otherwise known as Obad, just had a live video conversation with Philip Cargrom on the 27th, and he discussed some of the goals of Druidry and why they are valued today. And it was live streamed on Facebook. If you haven't had the chance to check that out, it was pretty informative, and it was super great to hear some stuff that he had to say about Druidry. And Obad themselves are very specific set in how they do some of their things. And to hear some of the things and information that he had to say and how it impacts the community today was pretty cool. Especially to get some information pertaining and actually hearing somebody from Obad was super great from that level. So if you have the chance, it's Philip Cargom, CARR-GOM, Obad. It was live streamed on Facebook. I'm sure.
The page? Was it Obad's page that live streamed, or was it?
I'm sure if you Google it, it'll pop up and then lead you back to Facebook, or it'll be on a page somewhere. But it was pretty informative, and that was this past week, Monday actually. The Catawba priesthood group announced that a new weekend retreat will be held July of 2018, and the event will focus on Celtic polytheist devotion and community building in a beautiful California redwoods. It will be held at the Earth Matters Sanctuary in Ben Lomond, California during the weekend of July 19th. So it looks like there's going to be a really big festival out in California this year. So sounds pretty interesting. I know we've got a couple events in North Carolina that are going to be pretty cool to be a part of or potentially look at. Another really cool thing was there was a pretty decent interview with a Gardarian high priest and Pathos pagan channel manager Jason Mankey. Mankey discussed his personal practice, his thoughts on pagan history and the modern community, and he is well known for his unique sense of humor. And despite his questionable taste in dad rock,
in what?
Dad rock.
What is dad rock? Oh, that's probably the stuff that I like to listen to, isn't it?
Yeah, like we like.
Okay. Yeah, like Led Zeppelin, Metallica, actual rock,
yes.
Not whatever passes for rock. I'm sorry. For all of you young folks out there, the rock that you enjoy is perfectly valid. It's just not rock.
Aaron writes, Jason is an encyclopedia of knowledge, particularly when it comes to occult history. What is refreshing about this is that he is also particularly one of the nicest guys to know. And on top of that, he has a great sense of humor despite his questionable taste in dad rock. So it is
sounds like me.
Yes. So Matt Aaron published the interview with the author. And you can Google that. It's probably going to be on Pathos or Pathos as well. So anything and everything is on Pathos or Pathos. However you want to say it, spell it. It's just whatever. You know what I mean?
Pathos. Tomato.
Oh, yeah. We listen to Dad Rock too. Don't feel bad.
Dad Rock.
It's expected. So that is our little bit of tidbit news for the pagan world and community. I just thought that was some interesting stuff that would have been nice to share. And as this is something we see or find, this will be something that we introduce. I figure it's something that would be beneficial for you guys to know. I mean, if we're going to be doing these lives, why not?
And in other news.
Yeah. Oh, God.
The microphone falls down.
Attack of the microphone.
Wow.
All right, so let's
The moon
talk.
hits your eye like a big Pizza pie, that's amore. Or in this particular case, really, we're talking about the full moon that's like going to be in the next couple of days.
The 3rd of December.
Yes.
So actually on Sunday.
Yes.
So let's talk the supermoon. So does anybody know that is watching on Facebook what a supermoon is?
Well, it's a moon and it's super.
And I don't mean super. It's super. No. Like why it is called a supermoon.
Crap.
And don't use Google. Don't. Naughty. Naughty. You're I see too.
Google is your friend.
Can anybody tell us why it is called a supermoon? Full moon closer to the earth. Good job. Yes.
Who's that?
Sarah and Harley.
Okay. Christopher,
it's like McDonald's. It's supersized.
Yeah.
Yes. Good analogy. I like that one.
It's super.
Okay, so supermoon is when the full moon is in direct alignment to the sun and is also the closest point to the earth. So it's 6% actually closer to the earth than normal. That's it.
Man, what a 6% that makes.
Yeah, that's so literally 6% closer.
And yet, when you really sit down and think about 6% of what is it, 159,000 miles or something like that,
Yeah.
6% is a lot of damn miles. And what does this mean for you? Well, you thought tide was high. Now it's like super high tide. Or in our case, let's wash away everything on Topsail Beach.
You
High.
wanted that. Not anymore.
Yeah, you had a pier. It was great. Not anymore.
Bye-bye.
Rebuild.
Let's see. So, the spiritual meaning of a supermoon.
Sorry, that way we can see the responses.
Hold on, let me
It's like now and impossible for me to see them the way it is. Technical. Ooh, hello.
There.
It works.
So let's see. So spiritual meaning of supermoons is supercharged full moon energy. Woo! But which is when harnessed correctly can be immensely positive. Keyword harnessed correctly. But can also lead to emotional turmoil when the surfacing of old issues, drama, etc.
Like a cat walking on a notebook. Meow, 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 meow.
This is Jinx. She would really like to participate in our live apparently today.
Meow, meow, meow. Super cat. Super moon. Super cat.
She's got a mask on her face.
Meow. So yes, basically you just have to be careful and make sure you are harnessing it correctly, because anytime you're dealing with an increase in spiritual power, it can be a phone and a microphone being knocked down. You've got to find an anchor point. It can be a very strong source of power. However, keep in mind that it's also easy to become overpowered when you are using a strong source of power. It would be, oh yeah, totally, Donna, totally, yeah. Me and Mercury don't get along anymore. So, but it can be overpowering if you're not ready for that.
Yes.
As we found out in Supermoon 2015, wash it all away.
We've titled that one quite apropos.
Yeah.
So the other thing too is the specific upcoming one. I posted an article about, I think, last week. If you guys haven't had a chance to read that one, I would really kind of go back and read that one, because it really kind of pins it on the head, especially when it pertains to Mercury and retrograde. Yeah. And how the supermoon's going to affect that, and vice versa. Because, like Donna mentioned in the comments, Mercury in retrograde starts the same day. And if you guys haven't had any fun times with your electronics like we've been experiencing, or miscommunications or paper contract issues, or just small little things that just aren't connecting quite right.
It's just the little things.
That's Mercury in retrograde shadow slowly creeping in until Sunday.
That way, when it removes this little pin here, it's like, it's just a little pin that also happens to be controlling the entire gear ratio, in which case the whole thing just falls apart.
Yes. Welcome, and if you haven't had the chance to look at all of our videos, we did do a really nice lengthy video on Mercury in retrograde a couple of weeks ago. Super informative, explains a lot of the effects of Mercury in retrograde, and it also tells you things to do and avoid.
Like everything. Be a hermit.
Well, you can't avoid everything.
Yes, you can. You can totally isolate for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long it takes place. You be a hermit. You do nothing. You store food now. You hide. And you try not to move any more than you absolutely have to, because you're probably going to trip and fall and bust your face.
Okay, for those of us who cannot do that...
It's not a matter of can. It's a matter of willingness to actually go through the process. And you might get fired. Don't get me wrong. But it's still going to be better.
Coven Le Corbeau Noir does not advocate this plan. And we apologize in advance and do not condone you hibernating in Mercury and retrograde.
It's the best
seasons.
way. It's the only way. No, and yes, Sarah, I would agree that... sleeping's been a little bit off. Yeah, sleeping's been off, particularly with the energy of the supermoon. And then on top of that, being in the shadow of Mercury retro. Ever since I kind of started looking into the... I actually thought about this today. Actually, Elaine, John's mother, brought this up to me. And we were talking about the Mercury retro, and we were talking about the supermoon. And it dawned on me that the pantheon I tended to lean towards before I started looking at the Norse was the Grecian. And when I turned and started looking at the Norse, that was the year that Mercury was like, oh, really? Let's go ahead and bend you over and basically all but get you fired that year. So I was thinking about it, I was like, ever since I started, okay. All right. Now I understand. Well, I say Grecian, more like the Roman, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, Donna, it goes retro too many times a year to hide. Typically, it's 3 to 4 times a year.
Rowan can be hermited very easily. Rowan's got food.
I can't.
I have livestock. I can hermit.
Oh boy, legalese come out. Oh yeah. With the legalese had to come out because
Yep.
Coven Le Corbeau Noir does not condone this.
Oh come on.
No.
We really don't. It's just me. Truly, it's just me. Like seriously, run and hide. Hide. It's crazy.
Correct. Not to mention, only in Onslow County. I don't know if that was a creepy stalker.
I think that was a dog that eats the world.
Only in Onslow County, North Carolina, can you receive a notification via text, phone call, email, security, and Facebook notification that an escaped convict is on the loose.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Thanks, Onslow. Well, it wasn't really Onslow County's fault, but that convict, you're wearing a bright orange jumpsuit. You know what? I go back to Naruto.
Still in cuffs, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Naruto. Super sneaky ninja.
Right.
Bright orange jumpsuit.
Like I think he was
2 and 2. Don't.
I think he was still in a bright orange jumpsuit, was still wearing the cuffs, and had a cast on his arm.
Right, yeah, and running down a golf course.
Right. So
yeah. But they did catch him. I was like, sometime between like anytime between like it was like 2 and 4 or 4:30, because I remember seeing somebody send me a post about it. They were like, "Hey, they caught him." I was like, "Cool, I'll run him over."
I didn't think about that, Nicole, but you got a great point.
What an idiot to convict, escaping while FBI is already in town with what is it? Yeah, for real,
I mean,
right?
like, come on. It's like, I'm gonna escape now. Let's see, the FBI.
Maybe he didn't know.
I mean, like, every alphabet soup's already in town. All right, it's like, oh, we got to help this guy. All right, well, we'll take 20. Yeah,
FBI,
we'll take 30 minutes out of our schedule to find this guy, pick him up, throw him back in jail, and then we'll go back to searching.
Yeah,
you know, because
we've already got canines in.
Yeah.
We've already got everybody.
Right. We've already got 14 helicopters flying. I mean, it's a military base. All kinds of helicopters flying over looking for
We already got Marines all over God's Green Mud Ball.
And on top of that, there's plenty of civilians that are helping with the search too. So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, crap. Oh.
Yeah, but it was just like, what is going on with Mercury and retrograde? Like,
it did not work out well for this particular individual.
It's just crazy. It was like, it's only the 1st of December. We haven't even gotten close to Christmas yet.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. That was totally Rowan's fault for going up and getting libations.
I was like, it's not even close to Christmas yet. We got people escaping prison. What is going on?
We will be returning to proper audio momentarily. Please, thank you for your patience.
There we go. But I'm just like, what is... I don't even know. Oh, no. Man down. That was me.
I'll tell you what. Let's just do this. I'm going to hold on to the microphone.
Hold on.
Because the microphone is what allows us to be able to speak to the people. Basically, yeah, if you don't mind putting this somewhere where I can get to it later, that would be great.
Yes. I wasn't planning on putting food up.
And then we're going to... It's technical difficulties. Don't mind us. Apparently, we are still having technical...
Oh.
Yeah. Still having issues with the technical.
That's my thinking face. Sexy, right?
Dongles are nice. Dongle.
There. Ha! One problem solved.
Problem number 1. Problem number 2. Maybe solved.
Round 2.
Round 2.
All right.
All right. So anyway, we're just gonna hold on to the microphone for now. On that note, supermoons. So very powerful energy in the air, as exemplified by escape convict. Like, peace, I'm deuces, I'm out. In the middle of Mercury or beginning to go retro, while there's alphabet soup looking for a child right now. So
For real.
he was caught, I assume, from what I'm told. Mind you, I don't live here, so I don't pay attention.
Yeah,
to that
he
kind of
was caught sometime between like 1 and 4. Yeah. I don't know.
So that's just a great example of the power of Mercury retro. Basically, if it can go wrong,
it will.
It's already gone wrong. There's no it will, it's just already gone wrong.
This is why when our coven convenes this weekend, the crafts we are doing don't require my oven.
Yeah. Or anything other than scissors, and preferably child scissors that can't cut anything but maybe.
Oh no, we don't even require scissors.
Oh, so
I'm going to cut them myself and just go, here you go. Here, take
glue.
These home.
Not even
and then you can do
glue.
these yourselves.
Yeah. Because if you use super glue, it would be like, I don't understand what happened. So, yeah, it's just.
All right. So, moon phases.
Yeah, moon phases.
So, on that note, supermoon, lots of energy, great, powerful. Mercury retrograde.
It's powerful.
It's something.
I hate to say it, but
Mercury retrograde can also be very retrospective. It can very much so tell you to dig deep and be
hermit,
analytical in previous decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a reminder, stop, think before you act, think before you speak.
Don't buy a car.
Don't buy anything without reading the contracts thoroughly. And if you can delay buying it, delay buying it. If it is not a process that you started before Mercury retrograde, try delaying it. If it is a process that you cannot delay, just try to make sure everything is the way you need it to be.
Yes.
As much as possible.
And in particular, I've seen this firsthand. A friend of mine, the last Mercury retro we had, a friend of mine bought a car. Almost a week after Mercury came out of retro, the car broke down. They tried to fix it, and then eventually got to a point where they fixed it. It broke down. They fixed it. It broke down, and now the car's. He just bought this particular individual. Just bought this car, literally the last cycle, and it is totaled. In terms of, it will cost more money to fix than what he bought the vehicle for. So it's, and that was what 3 months ago, 4 months ago, however long. Yeah, 3 months ago. So right, it already is. This individual's got to get another car. And then he also, this individual had to get rid of his previous car in order to get the car that broke down. Yeah. So it's like they were in a bad position all around. So yes, read the fine print, and then if you are buying things like a car, make sure it's looked over, and then looked over again, and then looked over again by somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
Triple check.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll end up with a car that will break down in 3 weeks.
And you don't want a lemon.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Not in between.
Well, and that's why I like going through Amazon, 2-day shipping.
Yeah. So, and to that end, like because Rowan just remembered, oh crap, Rowan hasn't done any holiday shopping. So a lot of holiday shopping for Rowan this year is going to be stuff he can make. Hey. Because I can't mess that, because it's not going to, I say it's not going to break, but, Mercury.
Yeah.
Retro.
The other thing, too, is resist the urge to post-mortem your life. Don't do it. It's okay to analyze in small details, but do not tear it to shreds and overanalyze everything in a minute detail with a microscope. Do not sex text your ex. These are simple things, but go back, check the video out. Mercury retrograde. We had a little bit of fun with that one. So that note, let's talk about moon phases. So since we're talking about the full moon is a great thing. It's peak energy, great for blessings, great for joy and gratitude, for blossoming celebrations, for bringing things to you.
Yes.
So if you would do something on a full moon, what would you expect to want to do on a full moon? Like, give me an idea of something you would want to do on a full moon.
Like blessings, Come on, there's squirrels, there's trees, there's squirrels. Come on, we'll bless them all until we give a schnicket.
Like, it's typically you're harvesting the intentions and wishes of the previous cycles and things of that nature. So, celebrations and things like that. So, what would you, since we're having the super moon and it's going to be super intense energy, what would you, if you had something that you would like to do that on Sunday, what would you want to draw down that energy for? Skyclad. Of course. I don't know if you know, but your hubby specifically asked whether or not we did Skyclad, and I had to give him the 411 that we don't. MLM business growth. Yeah, that would be a good one. Business growth would be a very good one.
Yep. Let's go back to the Skyclad. Go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Oh, come on!
Nobody wants to see y'all manatee.
Oh, but the manatee's so blubbery. It's got hair. And by that, folks, she's talking about. We're gonna move on.
So you can use the full moon not only to do blessings, but you can also do it to a couple of other things. You can use it to charge your beautiful crystals. This is a fluoride crystal. It's a pillar, so it's about the size of about a golf ball size as far as the width. And it's about 2 inches to 4 inches tall, but it's a very nice piece of fluorite. The color has slowly faded, but that's just because I use a lot, and it stays in my office a lot of times. But this is a good opportunity for especially the supermoon to bless and cleanse things. No, you can't have this one. This one's my favorite. I love fluorite, but it's also a good time to cleanse and bless things for ritual or your own purposes. Jewelry, stones, ritual items, anything that you feel has a bad intention or just a bad vibe to it. You can sit it outside and just let the moon just cleanse all of that bad energy and just let it wash it away is a good thing. Assess your efforts and try to think positive when you do try to draw down any energy from the moon, because like we talked about, it is very high energy work, and if you have any doubt in what you're doing, it could backlash in some fashion. Maybe not entirely a bad way, but you could unintentionally make yourself weak or lightheaded or sick, because energy work in any capacity is always going to do something. It can either make you super hyper or very ill if you're not experienced in it. Open a window and smudge. Yeah, that would be a good option too. Some ideas you could also do besides cleansing crystals. You could create a gratitude list and speak your thanks out loud. You could take a hot, salty, detoxifying bath and relax with releasing behavior and thought patterns that do not serve you. You can take a high-intensity workout, harnessing your strong energy, and sweat out and wring those negativity. You can camp out or hike under the full moon, soaking up the creative energy and light. No, you guys cannot bail again.
Yeah, what?
Can't go camping again.
Why?
Because we have a meeting this weekend.
The meeting's at 2.
No, it's at 1.
Okay, well, the meeting's at 1.
You have to work tomorrow. Ha-ha.
Yes, I do have to work tomorrow. That's very true. The meeting's at 1. We can leave at 2 and go camping, and then Michael can have his 1.21 gigawatts. And then we can camp from Sunday night through Monday, and then come back Monday morning. Will can be at work at like 6:30 in the morning. It's all good. He's only gonna sleep in the back of his truck anyway.
Yeah. So we talked full moon. Let's talk new moon. So obviously,
1.21 gigawatts.
Gonna be somewhat different. So new moon is going to be a time that it's blank. It's like you're starting over in a fresh slate. It's new beginnings, unlimited possibility. You're planting seeds and intention.
Cosmic power. Any space.
It's a time for exploration with unlimited potential. You're essentially, when you go from new moon to full moon, you're drawing things that you want to you. Okay? So think of it like a clock. So you go from new to full, you want to bring things to you. So right now, if you're planning on doing any magical workings up until the supermoon, you want to do magical workings that encourage things that are positive to come towards you up until the supermoon, which is things that you want to say you're thankful for, and you want to bless the moon for the works that you've received and to cleanse all of the the negative wusa and to continue being positive.
And bless the squirrels.
The trees.
Get fish naked.
Yes. And then from full to new, you're pushing all the negative away to continue being on a positive path that you set at the beginning of the month. Does it make sense? So with a new moon, you don't want to let past experiences influence on what you believe is possible. And you want to refrain from making commitments or promises. Instead, focus on your intentions and coming up with new ideas. It is a great time to celebrate beginnings, start new projects, and focus on personal growth. Consider this time as a potential to be open-minded.
And to become a hermit, because Mercury in retrograde is coming.
Be open-minded.
Sure, to being a hermit.
Or be reflective. Well, I guess you can be a hermit and be reflective.
Exactly. Hello, hermiting. The hermit is the perfect plan. It's the perfect. I'm telling you, it's the perfect plan. But you should actually be open-minded.
Can I yell at kids from my front door?
I don't care if you yell at kids from your front door.
Get off my lawn, you kids!
But then again, if you're truly a hermit, you shouldn't have kids on your lawn.
I don't. I have cats.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're truly a hermit, you're out in the middle of nowhere. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, then let's just say if you have kids on your front door or any other people on your front door, then you have other things to worry about than yelling at the kids for being on your front door. I think you may have other issues that are more pressing at the time. Anyway, sorry, tangent. New moon, totally time for new opportunities, new beginnings, and anything that is growing. In some respects, oftentimes I've heard explained best that the moon is much like a woman growing to fullness of her, coming into getting ready to give birth, if you will, the full moon, and then resting to recuperate afterwards. So at new, everything is growing within her womb. She gives birth at full, and then she recovers by resting from full to new, and then gives birth again. Now, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it would be like to give birth to 13 kids in a year, but that just seems a bit excessive to me.
Nope.
I'm already having enough issues dealing with a dog on my lap, because apparently Layla, you can't see very well, is a lap dog now.
That would be my dog, Layla.
Yeah. So.
Some suggestions. You could write a journal reflecting on the past month or the month ahead. List your goals and intentions. Attend or host your own new moon cycle. You can focus on low energy activities.
You are talking about new, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Pinterest is amazing. You can start 30-day goals.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 30-day planners. And there's apps that you can download if it's something that it's a habit that you're trying to change, and there's points and different things that you get with those, and some of them actually are credits that are redeemable to different stores. Some of them are games. There's a whole bunch of technology that we have available at our fingertips that is crazy that we often forget to use it.
Plenty of alien technology available to help you to get your goals completed so that you can join and go through the Stargate in the rock and go through the wormhole to the other planet. Well, the microphone will fall off again.
So, I mean, just kind of keep those things in mind as far as the new moon goes. Now, so we're going to go from new to full.
No.
So, when you go from new to full, you have a waxing crescent. And a waxing crescent is the sprouting part of the crescent. It's kind of like the little crest of the moon, and it's a time of breakthrough. Use fresh light, excited energy to declare your intentions to others, make contacts, gather information, build ideas, from the big picture to the details. You want your plans to be well thought out and fortified against inevitable ups and downs to come. So map out your new workout, monthly budget, eating habits, project plans, share intention with a friend, social media, accountability support groups, apps, journals, whatever the case may be. Focus on your energy on research, not just the internet, books, but personal connections and your broader network as well. And you can do spells to help kind of continue that as well. The next, surrender. Wait, hold on. Wrong direction. Fresh energy, conceptualize, focus on the details, sprouting declaration. So the next part is the first quarter. So continuing on there, that's when literally it's half of the moon's dark, half of it is full. Okay, momentum, challenges, paying attention, sending roots in action. So your work's gaining momentum. Your goal is 1/4 of the way of being idealized. Okay. We have the tendency as human beings when, New Year's resolutions. Who has ever set a New Year's resolutions and within the first 2 weeks stops doing it?
I think a better question would be who hasn't, right? Because unless you're not of this culture, you have.
Yep. So that's your first quarter, guys. Okay.
Oh, Fen, you're very, very cute. So, yeah, I mean, again, you're all anytime you think of the waxing moon, you're still thinking of something gaining in energy.
Mm-hmm. So with the first quarter, you want to find ways to continue being enthusiastic. That's the hardest point. Right. You just went through the first 7 days. Now you got to get through the next 7 days until the full moon. So now you're like, okay, can I make it? So you have to find ways to become more efficient and productive. Now is the time to move forward. Push and pull. Look ways you can steady and ground yourself by sending down roots halfway between new and full moons. It's not a resting time, not a time for reflection. It's a time for attention to take action. So be prepared to go with the flow, see potential setbacks and opportunities. Hope for the best and plan for the worst. Stay active and remember to hydrate, eat nourishing foods, take moments to yourself throughout the day, and support stamina and mood regulation. Avoid swinging too far in any direction. Aim subtly and balance and an even keel instead. Slow and steady wins the race. So remember, even with you setting goals at the beginning of the month with a magic spell or an intention, it takes a little bit to see changes. Nothing is going to be instantaneous. It's never going to be that way.
And that's okay. It's perfectly fine. For it to take some change, you just have to put in the energy.
Yeah.
It's all said and done with. Just as the moon is gaining energy, you too have to put in energy into the system. And that would move you into the waxing gibbous.
Yep. So we just went from first quarter, and then we've gone from first quarter to waxing gibbous. And that is patience, edit and refine, gestation, nurture, and when it nurture you. Okay. So while you start seeing some of the efforts and the fruits of your labors, it's still gestating. Don't boast about it. Don't stop doing what you have started. Practice patience, tie up loose ends, streamline and intake, take care of what you have. It's positive period of powerful growth, of shifts and changes. Put forth your energy inward and focus on blooming. Avoid scheduling too many meetings during this phase. You'll want quiet time to focus on what's your plate. Take care of what you have. Pick up the house, walk the dog, prep, scheduling. Okay. Focus on commitments. Extend this care to others. Be helpful of service where you can. So be humble. Essentially, with this phase, continue striving even though you're seeing changes. Don't stop. Be humble and nurture not only yourself internally, but also find ways to share that wealth with others. That makes sense? All right, which brings us to the full moon, which we already discussed. And then after the full moon, we have the waning gibbous. Waning gibbous is where the waxing moon represents actions, givings, doings. So remember, we're pushing things away. So from new to full, we want things to come to us, whereas waxing or full to new, we are pushing things away. So with waning, we are acting, giving, doing, and the waning moon represents releasing and doing, receiving. In this way, the waxing gibbous moon is like the harvest. It is known as the disseminating moon, which means to disperse. Now is the time to put your energy outward. So phone calls, emails, friends, dates, thank you notes, donating old clothes, sharing foods from your garden, inviting friends over for a meal, give back and let go. Essentially, you thank the moon for the harvest that you've received, and hopefully the spell has started working. You've started to see some of the results, so you know it's working in some capacity, and you're continuing to strive towards a bountiful harvest of that spell or craft that you've worked towards. So, in that aspect, now you need to start putting forth that energy and continuing to thank and push the negative away. Does that make sense? Then we have the last quarter, so the reverse, the first quarter. So this is the beginning to decompose and transitioning of compost to nourish new life. Not an ideal time to begin something new. Use what you've already created to make adjustments and or correct your path or decide to let go of it. So, if you've noticed the spell that you've worked isn't working, it's fizzled out in some capacity, make adjustments to see if it can be fixed. Make notes, try it again, or let it go and move on. If it's not working by now, chances are it probably isn't going to work. If you haven't started to see anything, some spells take longer than a month to see some type of chain of change in some sort, depending on the spell you're doing. If you're doing small, simple spells, you'll see something change in small increments, but you have to be open-minded to those changes. Use it to reflect and identify your next direction. An excellent idea for tying up loose ends or marking the end of projects coming to a close. Your work is done. Prioritize completing lingering items on your to-do list. Take a hard look at past mistakes and find the silver lining of the lessons they have offered. Find an area of your life you can completely close out, anything from paying off the last of debt, submitting a project that's due, or finishing leftovers up in your fridge. I don't know if I'd be finishing up leftovers that are 3 weeks old in my fridge, though.
I think they're talking about leftovers you made like at the full moon.
Oh, okay.
Like so a week old.
Okay.
Give or take.
Layla.
Dude.
No.
She's like, oh, no, this guy won't let me lay in his lap until he finally gave up and just stopped trying to push me away. So, long story short, it's a good time to kind of complete some things and then move into the
waning crescent. Yes. So the waning crescent, you're surrendering, you're resting, and you're restoring, you're reflecting, you're also trying to compose intuition. It's also called the balsamic moon.
The balsamic moon?
Yes.
What, are we having a salad?
I knew that was going to come from you. It's a word that represents...
Are we marinating chicken?
It's a word that means restorative time for healing. Turn off, replenish, meditate, look inward, ask yourself questions, recognize accomplishment, and reflect on what is next. See if you can avoid making plans during this time and focus on self-care. This will put you in the best possible position to flow into new intentions, seeing with a clear mind in the coming days of the new moon. Try a 1 to 3 day technology detox.
Which basically means not.
Surrender your hand to the hand you've been dealt with in this moment, which I think in general needs to be good advice.
Generally speaking, acceptance is
yeah.
Unless the acceptance is, like, dangerous. Oh, okay. Is dangerous. But generally speaking, acceptance is important.
Yes. Find one thing to release in your life: a habit, a person, an object, a grudge, a responsibility, in order to make more room for a new possibility and opportunity. Maybe that spell didn't work because
you got too much clutter, yo.
Either spiritually, emotionally, metaphysically, mentally, or literally physically.
Yes.
There's nothing forward. There's no room in any of that for you to have what your wish is.
In which case, the best thing to do, like what my father does, is to build another barn. I mean, get rid of some stuff. Totally get rid of some stuff and build another barn.
I wish I could mentally build another barn.
You totally could. You just have to.
I don't have a big enough. I don't have a big enough head for that. Though.
Oh, come now! It's just a matter of making connections to different brain cells. It's all about gray matter. Neurons
I don't want to be mastermind.
But it's so much fun.
Only if I can have a blue suit.
Yes.
Okay. So that is the magic of moon phases. I know it's a lot, and like I said, we are only touching on the surface of the magic of these moon phases. There's so much that you can do, and each moon phase is different, and each moon phase, even if it's not during the phase itself, can correlate to a day. I mean, there's so much, guys.
And when it's all said and done with, as much as there is, keep in mind that in the end, what matters is, what do you believe? What have you found to be effective? And when you find what's found to be effective, make sure you continue to do that. Efficacy is important.
Yep.
So at some point in time, the information overload, you have to just simply put it down, go out and do stuff. And only by doing stuff will you find what works for you. Because trust me, you can sit and spend a lifetime sifting through information that's been written by countless scholars and countless personal unverifiable gnosis. But in the end, until you go out and you practice your own personal unverifiable gnosis, there's nothing that will compare to it.
No.
So go out, as you said, Tracy, go out and be skyclad, call down the moon, and dance among the trees.
And the other thing, too, to keep in mind is that we all start somewhere. And we all don't just, and now we know, we all were once...
Reading Rainbow,
we all
Shorty
were...
the Forge.
We were all new to this just as you were. So, I mean, for those who are just watching this and are new to practicing, we understand. We get this, which is why we like doing these live casts and things like that. The other thing too with
It's kind of like the sunscreen song. You know, sunscreen good, no sunscreen bad.
the
Rest of advice based on years of Jedi teaching experience. Yes.
the other thing to keep in mind, we as human beings tend to do two things. We tend to learn better as we do them. So if you're reading from a book, I suggest that you try it as you go.
Unless
And-
the book specifically says, "Don't try this as you go."
Yeah, I mean, and yeah.
If the book is,
If the book says no,
Yeah.
if it says explicitly, warning, do not
Warning.
do this in your home, I would
danger,
not do that.
Will Robinson,
Danger. Yeah, I would not do that. But we as human beings tend to learn better as we do them because we recall it better, we're learning it better. The other thing I would recommend is if you are new to casting spells, there are some great tools that I would recommend. And one of them, and you can make your own, you can look for them on Google or Pinterest or Pathos, whatever site you want to look for. We have one specifically in our group that if we have new members that are interested in spell working, after we do our spell working 101 class, for our members specifically, we will give them a copy of it. And that is, we have a spell worksheet. And it is very useful. As silly as it sounds and may seem, I recommend it for those who are super new because it makes you sit down and evaluate each aspect of that spell so that you can write it down, understand what the purpose of each point of that herb or crystal or moon phase or whatever the case may be is. If there's something in there that, while it may be good for that spell, may not exactly correlate to what you are or specifically need, you may have to tweak it. If you've tried it and it didn't work, that's where that whole retrospective phase comes in during the last quarter or waning gibbous. If it's fizzling out, okay, maybe you need to make adjustments next month when you try it again.
Yeah.
You know, that's there is no right or wrong really to how you practice doing spell working as long as it doesn't really harm others. That's just my personal belief, but also in the same token, I mean, you got to know what you're doing too. But it's almost like a science experiment. You got to have a hypothesis. You got to kind of figure out what you're doing. But if you don't know the tools you're working with and the information behind it, you really can't.
Yeah, so, to caveat my statement, there is a knowledge base you need to know. This is true. Just be careful of information overload, which there's plenty of it. Older witches will recall the day when information was dang hard to find. It really was. Like when Nissaw started, it was easier to find than, say, some of our other members. But still, you had to go, and you had like the 3 shelves at Barnes & Noble's that might have some pagan stuff on it.
Yeah, now it's like everything.
Now you have Pinterest, and it's actually become information overload, which is why I say be careful of information overload.
Yeah.
So find the sources that connect with you, and then use that as your baseline knowledge base to learn what the tools are and are not, and then go out and practice, because until you have practiced the craft, it is not a craft for you. That's why it's called the craft. And in order to be proficient at any craft, you have to do it.
And that's why people have a Book of Shadows, because it's a craft that they have practiced, and those are things that work for them.
It is their journal, for all intents, and that's very much like what Nisa was talking about with respect to the spell worksheet. Is it's amazing how much you learn when you keep a journal, how much you learn of how you've grown, but also what does and doesn't work. That's why if you go to the doctor and you're overweight, and they're like, you have diabetes, they tell you to keep a food journal and a blood sugar journal, not because I want to see and tell on you. No, it's so you can see, holy crap, every time I eat tomatoes, my blood sugar drops. Case in point, my wife, every time she eats tomatoes, she can eat chips and then salsa, and her blood sugar will drop. And in my mind, I'm like, the chips are sugar. and the salsa is sugar, but somehow or another her blood sugar dropped 40 points. I don't get it. So, but without keeping that journal, she would never have known.
Right.
Without keeping the spell journal, you don't know that for you, oregano does or does not work well, but you can substitute rosemary in its place. For me, without keeping a journal and keeping some type of correlation, I would never figure out that hematite is no bueno for me. No bloodstone, good. Hematite, bad. Right? So keep that journal. Use that spell sheet. Use some type of thing to keep your journal, even if it's just notes in a leather bound something.
It could even be
on your phone. On your phone.
Yeah.
Keep
We
the
have
notes
the
with
technology,
your phone
guys.
to build them better, stronger,
use whatever
faster.
is capable. And I know some people have conflicting information, and I've seen a couple of debates. Personal belief, I don't care if your Book of Shadows is electronic, handwritten, typed, scribbled in leather bound, if it's in composition, if it's in a binder, I don't care. Personally, whatever works for you. If it's printed out from online and you found that spell worked for you, or that website had the information that just spoke to you and you printed it out and slapped it in your book, as long as you gave that website credit where credit was due and their information's in your binder, I don't care, because that was what worked for you.
And keep in mind too, with some of the new kids out there, like I actually used to work with a guy who was 20. And literally he couldn't write. Like he couldn't even read his own handwriting. He couldn't write. He could type 100 some odd words per minute, but could not write.
Keyboard warrior.
Right. Yeah. So when it's all said and done with, in that regard, it is simply ineffective for him to try to keep a handwritten record of what he does, because he will never be able to read it. So you got to do what's going to work for you, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, so I mean,
Layla, honey, seriously.
Keep track of things however you want to keep track of. One of the things I like doing for any of my new members, and if they don't have the means to keep track of their stuff, if they want, I have a composition book that they are more than welcome to pick one if they want. I will help supply them. I always have a stack of spiral bound notebooks, and the Coveners are more than welcome to have them. We as IC get them every year when school supplies go on sale, only because they're cheap and they're effective. And the group, I mean, can use them. Yeah. And they use it for more than just their own personal means. They use them for Coven meetings. They take notes and stuff like that. We have classes. So use whatever tools are available to you guys. They're there.
So on that note, I think we've covered the supermoon. Yeah. I think we've covered moon phases. Are there any last minute questions from anybody that we need to address before we hop off here? We'll give a few moments just to give them a chance to respond.
Yeah, we had 6 hung in there all day. Woo!
5 and 6. Yeah, it kind of dropped in and out.
I would like to also add a request. We had a young 3-year-old girl, regardless of anybody's opinions on the situation, I just want everybody to just say a blessing, light a candle, just for some type of resolution, either
some type of positive resolution.
Yeah, some type of positive resolution for the families involved. Yeah. Hopefully finding her in some capacity and getting her back home. If they could just light a candle, because we're going on tomorrow will be day 6. So if you guys can just light a candle, this is local, it's close to home, and we've had 700 volunteers show up, and they were actually turning people away because they had too many people show up to volunteer, and they're supposedly supposed to go out tomorrow to volunteer. So just light a candle and just say a prayer. I know everybody, it's kind of a little close to home, so it kind of hits really hard for those who have kids or don't have kids, and
yep.
It's a local situation, and it's just really shocking when it's that close.
When it's in your community.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you read about it in the paper happening 2,000 miles away. It's another thing when it's in your backyard.
So on that note,
au revoir. À bientôt.
Do us a favor, everybody. Let us know what you guys want to talk about at the next live next week, and pick a topic. If you guys have a couple of
neither Duran nor Duran discuss.
If you guys have a couple of topics that you want us to discuss, we'll post a poll and you guys can vote on it. We don't mind. Give us ideas, guys. We love your feedback. This was just a nice caveat for us to talk about because we had the supermoon on Sunday and it was Mercury retrograde and we hadn't discussed moon phases.
True.
So,
true.
All right, guys. We've been on here an hour and 15 minutes.
Peace. Deuces.
Bye.
Into the stream. There we go.